Okay, Alex. So, um, what's uh, you can see here what's going wrong on these low hang snatches, right? The bar is really far away, um, mostly because you're leaning back so far, right? So this is something that we kind of had figured out on the hip snatches. Now we've gone down below the knee, and you kind of this is why hip snatches stayed in your program, right? Because this can happen, right? So um, if you just watch the video back, you can kind of see that general sort of like watch the hips flick forward. So that will stop happening if you stop leaning back so much. Okay. So like the only reason that your hips come forward is because you're leaning back so far that it's like the only way that you can stay balanced with your shoulders this far back is to push your hips forward to counter it. So if you finish straight up, it'll fix that. Obviously with this light weight, you're getting away with it, but with a heavier weight, it's going to cause you to miss. I think the third one was the best one. Yeah, the third one was a lot better. Like the first one is like the most extreme, where you just like really lean back. Like, boom. Yeah. Okay, so that's like the main thing to work on these hang snatches. You gotta finish straight up. See how it looks from this angle. Do you know that one was better than the 35? So I guess you had some chance to practice. It's pretty easy. There's loads more in there, but like with the heavy weights, you're just not gonna get away with that. Triple jerks now. That's nice. Well done. Get a nice amount of movement on the front foot, which is great. You're like, the bar is going straight down and straight up, which is pretty good. It would be like better if like before you lift, you just like if you think about like squeezing your glutes when you're up here, then that means that your hips can't go back, and then you have to rely on the knees traveling forward to go down, and that'll mean that your torso is more vertical here. But the bar goes up and down pretty straight. But yeah, so that's the only other thing is like if you squeeze your glutes, then you can push your knees forward and out. These are the ones we talked about that they're quite easy. We talked about how like some people really find tempo squats hard. Which is why I went with quite conservative weights. So next week, the program goes up 5 kilos, but we're going to add an additional 5 kilos. So this will go to 55. And if it's hard, remember you brought it on yourself. But yeah, those are nice. Well done. This is good because it's the same angle as the light ones. Well, you can see here, the bar's obviously really far away from you. And if I can get the right frame, yeah, you can see that lean back still. Okay, so that's the main thing to work on with those. Overhead squats you're a little bit worried about, but I already watched the video and they're super easy. Now that initial push press, that's needs to be more quad driven. This will get easier as your legs get stronger, but you don't want to push your hips back that far because it's going to mean that like with a heavier weight you're going to push the bar forward a bit more. So you want to really work on just trying to get as much of that dip as possible just from the knee. But these look very stable overhead, which is fantastic. Yeah, it's a really solid position. So yeah, that's great. Well done. See how your hand cleans look. I'm going to kind of predict that this is going to be the same as the snatch yet. So shoulder, it's not too bad actually. Like compared to the snatch, it's not as extreme. Which is good. The clean in general, like you have like a shorter extension down the snatch because the bar doesn't have to go so far, but you can sort of feel that forward motion of the hips, which is just a little bit more than we would like. But yeah, you'll get a chance to fix that. Looks a little better from that angle. What's good is you remembered our previous conversation about how you need to have your knees bend a bit more when you're down here. That's a pretty decent position there. But yeah, you see that flick with the hips, just like flicking into the bar. Boom. Hits the bar out. Yeah. So we've got to get rid of that horizontal movement from the hip. That's kind of like the top priority here. Okay, cool. So, and then the same thing applies here in your hip snatch. Like, see the hips go back and then forward. Now, on the hip snatch, you've kind of learned not to lean back. So these look pretty nice. But you see, we've got to still work on, like when you set up, just load the quads by pushing the knees forward and out. That was better actually. See here, that's like all knees. That's what we want. You just push the knees forward and out, and you're good to go. So like that hip clean is a good example of how to set up for a hip snatch, or like it's kind of like the same pattern when you descend into like the dip of a jerk or a push press or a snatch push press. So yeah, we need to work on that generally, because it's the same here on these push presses, right? Where we're like not quite vertical in the dip. You can see like in my circle, barbell in the right spot above the ankle, but then the hips are behind it. Well, really what we want is the hips to be on that line, so everything is stacked up. So yeah, definitely something to work on there. And like part of that is just getting stronger quads, which you'll get from like these tempo squats. We'll build those legs up, kind of catch them up to everything else. But yeah, those are pretty nice. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. That's good. When you have the heavy weight, just be disciplined and try to keep the tempo the same, because you've done a really good job this week on tempo. Okay, cool. So I'm going to try to get this video out to you as quick as possible. Hopefully you'll see it before you train, so you can make those corrections today. Overall, good week training. If you fix the lean back on your snatch and clean, and then fix that kind of dip position, then you'll be golden.